There's no guarantee that I have that power all by myself without legislation. And someone suggested I should just go ahead and try it. And if I get shut down by the court, I get shut down by the court. But we're trying to work through that right now.
President Biden teasing, and once again, possible executive action on border security. Remember, that was right before the State of the Union. And it didn't happen, and now they're talking about it again. Axios reporting it is expected to come by the end of the month. I want to bring in Daniel Garza, president of the LIBRE Initiative. It's great to have you. I want to show you this and then have you listen to him on Univision. Favorability with Hispanics. In January of 21, Biden was at 53, Trump 24. In March of 2024, Biden down 12 points to 41% and Trump up to 32%. And then President Biden said this last night on Univision.
Let's look at the way Trump talks about Latinos. He talks about them as Mexicans, rapists and criminals, murderers. He talks about how, I mean, it's just, look, there's not a fundamental difference in the value set between Irish Catholic neighbors I grew up in Latinos. It's about faith, it's about family, it's about togetherness, it's about having each other's back. And he doesn't share any of those notions.
But Dan, I just showed you those numbers. What is President Biden missing here?
Well, you know, he deliberately takes Trump out of context when he's talking about certain criminal elements that are coming across the border, not all immigrants. And he does that purposely to manipulate the Latino vote. Look, the clear message coming from the Biden White House is that he is oblivious to the economic pain his policies have caused in the Latino community. The spending-induced inflation spiked the cost of food, medicine, rent, and gas. The cost of the very basic things, Dana, that people can't do without. And so inflation and high interest rates are debilitating Latino families who were already having a tough go at it. So, look, Latinos are looking back at the Trump years with nostalgia when at least they could afford the very basics. You
know, you're there in Texas, and I know that in the energy industry, there's a lot of jobs out there. And is that on their minds as well?
100%. Look, the sense is that the Democrat Party under Biden fawns over the highly indoctrinated. Sorry, I meant the college educated and those that are highly dependent on government, right? You know, for votes. The American working class, the energy worker, the conservative minorities, those, you know, who embrace American principles, really, those who no longer fulfill the political aims of the party are treated like second-class citizens. And that's what Latinos are feeling, right? It's not just a rejection of failed Biden policies that are making life tougher. But look, Latinos are recognizing that our policy priorities align better with the GOP candidates, especially those Senate candidates in those key states.
Let me ask you about border encounter comparison. So in Trump's total time in office, 2.4 million border encounters. For Biden thus far, it's 7.4 million. How do Latino voters factor that in? I know the economy, as you're saying, is the most important issue, and I understand that, but how do they think about this?
Look, Latino voters are angry. They resent the loss of order and control at the border, and especially when you consider that, you know, Biden eliminates effective executive actions, then he ignores the border crisis that he unleashed with his own failed, you know, executive actions. And like you said, over 7 million migrants without prior authorization entered America. And then he proposes reforms that would sort of codify the actual measures that caused the border crisis and is rightly rejected by Congress, or at least at the GOP. And then full circle, finally, in an election year, he now proposes to reverse his failed policies, validating Trump's policies. What a mess. The ineptitude is off the charts.
It feels like a mess. Can I ask you one quick question on the abortion issue? Does that weigh in here? I know it might not be high on the priority list, but could it make a difference?
I think it will make a difference to young female Latinas, obviously. Look, you need a full throttle defense of reasonable policies. If they're going to be moderate, I think those are preferable to an extreme agenda that the Democrats are proposing, which would be abortion to the 9th month. Very few Americans believe in that, but that's what they're proposing. And so you really need to weigh the moderation versus extremism.
Of course, the Democrats reject that, but that's going to be the debate going from now until November 5th. Daniel Garza, thanks. It's great to see you.
Great to see you, Dana.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.